Thank you for joining us for State of Texas In Depth. I'm Josh Hinkle. For the first time in nearly a century, a Texas governor faces criminal charges.
It's a little difficult to run for president when you have a legal case hanging over your head like that.
Whether
But
she's
is
been
she
through
behind
rigor or
that
not.
political attack that you're talking about? Because she recused herself in
I think
this
the
case.
people-
You've been called the richest man in Texas politics, though.
Researchers say an 80,000-pound truck does about as much road damage as 9,600 cars. Anger and emotion spilled over like never before 1 year ago at the Texas State Capitol.
I'm here to protect life. I'm here because I believe in women's rights.
A standoff over a bill severely limiting abortions drew worldwide attention and sparked a new debate over women's health here at home.
House Bill 2 is finally passed.
Some here today will believe that this fight has been waged and won.
Now we go inside one of the few clinics still open in the aftermath of lawmakers' decisions, and our legislative roundtable breaks down the impact the law has made since that moment, plus the political fallout from the race for governor to the end of an era.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us for a special edition of State of Texas In Depth. I'm Josh Hinkle, and today we come to you from outside the upper chamber of the legislature, the Texas Senate. 1 year ago, right here, perhaps the loudest political fight in the state's history. The gallery was packed, and all eyes were on one woman standing on the Senate floor.
Please accept this copy of my testimony.
Democratic Senator Wendy Davis of Fort Worth stood for 11 hours filibustering a Republican-backed bill that would bring some of the toughest restrictions on abortion in the nation.
Overwhelming to see how many people have been willing to be civically engaged in a way that is respectful of civil discourse, but also in a way that says we demand to be heard.
Her efforts ran up the clock well into the evening. Lawmakers missed the midnight deadline to take a vote, but Governor Rick Perry, who initially told the legislature to tackle this issue, called them back the very next day. And within a few weeks, the bill was back on the floor and passed this time, signed into law soon after.
It is our responsibility and duty to give voice to the unborn.
What a change that signature made. Take a look. In 2011, 46 Texas clinics provided abortions. Once the law takes full effect this September, most predict there will be just 6 left. They must all have an ambulatory surgical center.
When you walk into the Whole Woman's Health Clinic in San Antonio, it's just like you're in the operating room at a hospital.
Be able to transfer somebody back to their recovery area.
The doors are wide enough for a stretcher to roll through, the spaces are much bigger, and there is even a docking bay for an ambulance. The reasons why this site will be one of just 6 clinics left performing abortions in the state.
It's a sterile environment.
But Andrea Ferrigno says early-term abortions often require only
The medical abortion pill. It's a very, very simple procedure. It could be completely offered in a consultation office, in a counseling room.
Ferrigno, who helps lead this statewide health group, says they had to close down most of their clinics, including the one in Austin. It had smaller exam rooms and recliners in the recovery area. The San Antonio site was already an ambulatory surgical center, what the new law requires, no matter the type of abortion, and it can be expensive to maintain.
You have to include the cost of supplies, staffing, physical plant, and it increases to the thousands of dollars.
For each woman the clinic serves. Most are low income, and Ferrigno says Whole Woman's Health often helps them pay for the services, but it will be tough in the future.
We are expecting to see an increase in patients that will be traveling great distances to access the services they need.
Most offer a wide range of help, often for low-income patients, like cancer screenings, birth control, STD testing, and other health services. Welcome back to State of Texas In Depth. Security swarmed this chamber, and the sound from hundreds in the gallery and thousands just outside these doors often drowned out the debate.
The filibuster has been killed, so we'll wait to see what happens if this abortion bill will actually have any chance. We're going to actually walk up one flight because guards will not let us get past that area right now. They've run in extra security with DPS, so Juan Rodriguez is our camera guy, and he is actually following me up to the next floor where you can see things are just as crowded up here. Some women actually chained themselves to the railing, and they were waiting there until the troopers troopers actually came over with bolt cutters to get them off of the railing. Then they physically picked them up and took them out the door as the women were all singing, "Give Peace a Chance." People know that this bill is going to fail, and they are not happy about it. You can see thousands of people are here right now inside the rotunda. They are chanting. Anytime they see anyone coming out of the chamber, they are booing them as well. Now, right now, we want to come back over toward the chamber so we can show you that people are still lining up to get into the gallery. We've also seen troopers getting ready in riot gear. Beyond that, they're just still taking people through security checkpoints right here, trying to make sure that nothing is in these bags. We've had so far reports of anything in bags that could be actually thrown over the railing. They're taking out. You've got glitter, you have water bottles, you have magazines, you have even suspected jars of suspected urine, feces, paint. So it's a very, very tense situation here right now, and security is definitely beefed up. At one point I saw more than 50 troopers inside the chamber, and the lieutenant governor has threatened to actually clear the entire gallery if things do not calm down and if anything goes forward to prevent this vote.
The hallway outside the Texas State Senate seemed almost like the backstage of a rock concert after the special session.
Today was democracy in action.
Senator Wendy Davis ended her night with supporters.
From Peggy in Austin, Texas.
After more than 11 hours of talking and standing nonstop.
Please accept this copy of my testimony.
To run up the clock and kill the abortion bill.
Tonight was pretty unprecedented. Tonight, in many ways, was historical.
Certainly one to watch. Republicans cut Davis' filibuster short, just shy of midnight, the deadline they needed to meet for a vote.
It's probably the worst night that I've experienced since I've been in the Senate.
Democrats worked to keep time ticking.
The rules were ignored, and the whole process was rigged.
But hit roadblocks in the final minutes.
At what point must a female senator raise her hand or her voice to be recognized over the male colleagues in the room?
The thousands of Davis supporters took over. Troopers had to force several out of the chamber.
You missed a hell of a show.
Well, they did everything they could, including, getting the crowd to chant. I mean, you had House members, Democrat House members, revving up the crowd, trying to drown us out so we couldn't do our business. That's not the way democracy works.
The vote came and went, a little too late to count, thanks to what some are now calling the people's filibuster, and of course, their chosen rock star.
My back hurts, and I don't have a whole lot of words left in my vocabulary after all that talking, but I am overwhelmed, honestly.
That fight has been a conservative highlight of Abbott's campaign for governor. And not surprisingly, his opponent is none other than the woman that filibuster boosted to Democratic stardom, Senator Wendy Davis. Here to talk about that night and the aftermath for women's health, two people on the front line during the legislative session. We know that more than 500,000 girls under 18 don't have health insurance. How do you keep up with that next session? Texas inauguration. New leaders take the stage as we bring you coverage from the South Lawn of the Capitol. What's the one topic Governor Greg Abbott's inaugural address shares with the state's last 8 governors? A look back at their historic speeches to find the answer. The oath of office, its importance, and the man who administers it. Our interview with the Texas Supreme Court Chief Justice. And with Abbott sworn in, Texas' longest-serving governor says goodbye. The politics that could push Rick Perry to the presidency.
I, Greg Abbott, do solemnly swear
That I will faithfully execute
the
duties of the office
of
Governor of the State of Texas.
With those words, Gregory Wayne Abbott became the 48th governor of Texas. Hello, thank you for watching this special inauguration edition of State of Texas In Depth. I'm Josh Hinkle, and today we join you from the South Lawn of the state capitol, where thousands gathered this week to mark the start of a new era in state leadership. Greg Abbott transitions from Attorney General, a post the Republican held for 12 years, during which time he sued the Obama administration more than 30 times. Organizers of this day spared no expense, raising $4.5 million for the inaugural parade down Congress, the 4,000-seat ceremony, a barbecue featuring 4 tons of brisket, and a concert headlined by country favorite Lady Antebellum. But the ceremony itself drew the biggest turnout. An estimated 4,000 were lucky enough to snag a seat. Hundreds of others stood to watch.
We're honored to have the opportunity to represent the people of the state of Texas in the People's Mansion.
Those were highlights of my one-on-one interviews with both Abbott and Patrick in the days leading up to the inauguration. You can watch the extended version of those interviews now in the politics section of KXAN.com. Coming up, we speak with the man on stage administering the oath about the moment Texas got a new governor. You had the Sam Houston Bible holding it. What was that moment like for you to be up there? It was your first inauguration to be Chief Justice, correct?
It was.
This week, Greg Abbott became the first Texas governor in modern history to use a wheelchair. Something to think about as he moves into the governor's mansion, built 134 years before laws required public buildings to be accessible to the disabled. But an arsonist work just a few years back forced a complete restoration of the downtown Austin site, so it now needed only minor fixes for the Abbott family. The fire brought upgrades to bathrooms, doors, and an elevator for ADA compliance, and now workers are installing a ramp for Abbott to get a view from the upstairs balcony. It's not only a new governor and lieutenant governor, there are also a lot of other new faces in the Capitol as the 84th Texas legislative session got underway this month. Welcome back to State of Texas In Depth. 24 first-term representatives and 8 new senators. It will be one of the most conservative legislatures in Texas history. Transportation, it's a Texas-sized problem. One leaders say we can't wait to fix. So we're giving you the background, traveling the state and exploring its funding needs. From the cramped trade route of Interstate 35.
There is a proposition on the ballot this November.
To crumbling roads of the energy sector.
The safety is a big concern, for us who have children.
To a traffic nightmare in the capital city.
They worry about how much cash they need to continue the contractor payments.
Hello, thank you for watching this special edition of State of Texas In Depth. I'm Josh Hinkle. Today we join you from the state capitol, where in fewer than 3 months, lawmakers will gather for the 84th Texas legislative session. Thousands of bills will fly through these chambers, and no doubt many will try to tackle the same topic we're talking about today, transportation. But no matter the solution, all agree there is a problem, and we're showing you how severe it is. Starting our journey 100 miles south of Boston in Karnes County, an area rich in oil but threatened by dangerous roads. They're Karnes County's form of growing pains. Small rural highways crumbling away every day.
Gradually get beat up little by little.
Jeremy Hernandez is part of the population increase in the last few years, setting up his shop behind the wheel.
Accidents happen. Not what you want to do is wake up in the morning and then be involved in an accident.
TxDOT has tried to make tax dollars stretch, tackling traffic problems by widening roads and creating 2-mile-long passing lanes for drivers to safely get around these semi-trucks. Hundreds of them each week. The reason they're all rolling in, there are about 5,000 of those oil wells now. In 2008, there were only 100, and they only produced about 20,000 barrels of oil each month. Now, that number is 6.2 million, which means a lot of money for the state. And a lot of trucks to haul heavy machinery and the oil itself. In the year after the boom began, the number of vehicle accidents reported here rose from 130 a year to more than 400.
People hit a pothole and have a blowout and then go off to the side of the road, or it could be the tractor trailer loaded with crude oil rolling over.
Tough to blame it all on the oil business, but locals say it did get worse as traffic increased.
Seems like it's a weekly event. Have to be alert, you have to be a defensive driver.
Accidents are a lot more common than they used to be.
Last year, 11 people died on these roads. And while accidents might be good for Hernandez's business, that's a statistic he hates to hear.
Rather than be safe on the roads, yes.
Without state funding, cities and counties in that area face a big financial burden.